Hello everyone, I greet in the name of God Almighty. My name is Apostle Newton Silas, and today we have a very interesting video to share with you. It's actually a video of slavery, or should I say Islam, but then the title says that how the autobiography of a Muslim slave is challenging an American narrative. I believe that this is going to be a very interesting video when we get down to it, but then I would like to suggest to you that you should watch this. It's just some 4 minutes to 5 minute video. Let's watch from the beginning to the end. I believe that we're going to learn few things in a sense about Islam in America. So if today happens to be the first time of you checking out my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it in the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So guys, before we get on to the video, I'm a theologian and I make this video not to discredit anyone's religion. This is basically for educational purposes, and I believe that at the end of this video we all are going to learn from this. So guys, without any further ado, let's get on to this video and check this out.
A one-of-a-kind manuscript written by a slave has now been preserved in the Library of Congress. The Arabic language autobiography spent decades in private collections before the library acquired it in 2017. Now it has been digitized for the world to read. And Amna Nawaz reports on the manuscript's remarkable journey for our ongoing arts and culture series, Canvas.
Born and raised in West Africa, Omar ibn Said was 37 years old when he was kidnapped and taken to America as a slave in the 1800s.
Before I came to the Christian country, my religion was the religion of Muhammad.
His autobiography in his native language of Arabic is believed to be the only one of its kind, the original words of a Muslim American slave.
Then there came to our place a large army who killed many men and took me and brought me to the Great Sea.
His literacy and culture completely goes against, abolishes, one might say, annihilates the narrative that slaves were not capable of culture. In fact, they were persons with distinct histories, abilities, culture, and background.
Allah Al-Rayis has studied and translated the words of Omar ibn Said.
They sold me into the hands of the Christians, who bound me and sent me on board a great ship, and we sailed upon the Great Sea a month and a half, when we came to a place called Charleston.
He was wealthy and he was highly educated, because in his autobiography he speaks about spending 25 years studying.
Mary Jane Deeb is the chief of the African and Middle East Division at the Library of Congress, where Ibn Said's manuscript now lives.
So there was a man who was caught at the age of 37, and shipped off to South Carolina, in a country he doesn't know, among people whose language he doesn't know.
Ibn Said wrote he was sold to a, quote, small, weak, and wicked man called Johnson. After years of abuse, he fled, but was caught in North Carolina.
He is then captured and brought to a jail cell, and he begins to write on the walls of his jail cell in Arabic. So that attracted attention of pretty important people, because the man who ends up buying him and releasing him from jail was the brother of the governor of North Carolina.
Over time, Ibn Said converted to Christianity. In his 60s, he wrote his own story, but only in Arabic.
It's written in Arabic, and so his masters could not really read it at all. They could not really influence its writing. And so it was really his exact words, unfiltered by the machinery of the editorship of masters and abolitionists, as other slave narratives were.
A machinery Al-Rayis says erased countless narratives, including the fact that up to 20% of Africans enslaved in America were Muslim. Ibn Said, in fact, chose to open his autobiography with a verse from the Quran.
The crux of this Quranic chapter is that it's only God who has the possession and the ownership both of human beings and of things. And therefore, it seems to me a kind of a hidden text. What Omar is saying is that you guys have no right to own me here.
It's a narrative that challenges the original concept of who the slaves were when they came here. That they didn't really have a system of belief. They were uncultured, they didn't have a written system. This is what he brings to the table, and basically says that is who we really are.
But before those pages written by Omar ibn Said could be shared with the rest of the world, conservators here at the Library of Congress worked for months behind the scenes to bring those pages back to life.
We're trying to present the item as close to what it looked like at the time as possible.
Sylvia Albro led the effort to rescue the nearly 200-year-old manuscript. The materials themselves, she says, tell us even more about the life of Omar ibn Said.
It's actually surprising that the quality of paper for his manuscript is really pretty good. The fact that he had at his disposal good quality materials is an indication of the respect that he had as a figure, even as a slave.
That respect brought Ibn Said to the attention of prominent abolitionists, missionaries, and linguists at the time, who translated his story and used it in their fight against slavery. The entire manuscript is now available online for a new generation to read Ibn Said's words for themselves. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Amna Nawaz in Washington, D.C.
And what a gift it is to all of us.
Wow. This is a very interesting video, watching this autobiography of this Muslim slave from West Africa, Senegal, precisely. Of course, we all know that slavery did not do us, in a sense, any good, either as an African or some of them that we are actually taking to Europe, America, and even the South America, precisely. A lot of things, in a sense, happened during that time. A lot of destinies were changed, a lot of people were taken away, and all that. But then, one thing I could say concerning this slavery is these people didn't just come to Africa and just bought Africans and take them away. It means that people who were also living here in Africa also have hands in it. They actually agreed before all these things were able to make possible, because if the leaders, or should I say the kings as of that time, resist this slavery thing, all these things could have not come to pass. But because they allowed it, and that is why all these things, in a sense, happened. There was a time, I think last 2 years ago, right, that 2021 thereabout, I traveled to Ghana, Accra, and I went to a particular place to see where this slavery actually take place, where the slave trade actually take place, to a town called Cape Coast. Yeah, a particular city called Cape Coast. And then if you even go there, you could feel the smell like of something that happened in many years ago. You could still feel, you could see the place of no return, how all those things in a sense happen. You could see the reality that all these things are not just something we are just reading in books, but the reality of life, of what actually happened to Africans. All these things in a sense truly, you understand, happen. But nevertheless, I could say that this have already, in a sense, happened, but then it's now left for us, in a sense, to be able to change the narrative of what that happened before. Though we could say that maybe physically we may not be, you understand, still under this colonization and this slavery, but all these things, you understand, are still happening. How could you see that most of these African countries, and then the West African countries, in a sense, precisely, you could see that some of the resources, you understand, their own resources are not actually managed, in a sense, by them, but therefore by most of the European. Let's be maybe specific. You could look at most of the Francophones, you understand, countries in the West Africa and also in the Central Africa. You bear with me that all of them, you understand, most of them, or shall I say even all of them, they are still using what? CFA, for instance, and then their money, their exchange rate and everything is still determined by France. Look at it, like, just look at what it is happening. And that's why you could look at, like, for instance, you could look at Burkina Faso, for instance. You could see that their export, look at their export, you see that France still owns 50% of their export. Like, seriously. So how did you expect such countries, you understand, to grow? How did you expect them to develop? Those are some of the problems, you understand, that we face in Africa. We could say that they have gained independence, but that's just on papers. But the reality are, we are still suffering, and it's not that because we do not have the resources. We have all the resources. Go and browse in the Google and then look at some of the poorest countries, nations in the world. You will see that most of them, the least ones, are all from West Africa. Why? Why are we? And God has already actually blessed us with so many resources, being it gold, all, like, there's no resources that we do not have. You could even look at what is happening to our brothers in the Central Africa. We could look at Congo. What are they not having? What is Nigeria not having? What is Ghana not having? What is Niger not having? What is Burkina Faso and the rest of, what are they not having? But why are we still under this contraption? Why are we still suffering? Why do we have to go out to the West or to Europe for us to be successful? Not that because we do not have the resources, but why? Because of the kind of leaders we are having, and that is why we are going through what we are going through. And this has actually been eating us. This has actually been, killing us. This is some of the things that have undermined us. Why? Because of what we give out our rights. And that is why I just felt like there will be a need of us, you and me, who is listening, that we have to rise up to the point that we have to renegotiate all these things when it comes to international trade and all those things, so that it should be something that at least will benefit everyone. But anyway, that's not what this video is all about. But I know that a lot of you have thought an opinion, and I want you to drop it at the comment section. Let's all discuss this together, and God is going to bless us and change this narrative for us for a better future. Amen. So have a blessed day, and I see you next week. Bye bye.